we're going to label the structure of the muscle at a microscopic level and then discuss and describe how those parts work together to cause a muscle to contract and to relax. Before we do that, we need to talk about some basic vocabulary. Roots myo or mycelium refer to muscle. So these words are going to clue you into the fact that we're talking about something about a muscle. And remember words like epi and endo. Epi refers to outer, like your epidermis, and endo refers to inside. So here we have a whole muscle. This is the bone that it is attached to, and the muscle is attached to the bone by a tendon. Tendon we already have labeled is the Achilles tendon or the calcaneal tendon that attaches your calf muscle to your heel, attaches your gastrocnemius to your calcaneus. All right, this whole thing is a muscle. And muscles aren't just laying there, they are wrapped by connective tissue. And the connective tissue that wraps a whole muscle is called epimysium. Okay. This whole thing is a whole muscle and it's wrapped by epimysium. All right, the muscle is composed of these bundles. Each of these bundles is called a fascicle. Not a popsicle, a fascicle. And the fascicle is wrapped by perimysium. Perimysium. So all of these are fascicles, and they are wrapped by the perimysium. All right, inside each fascicle is an actual muscle cell. Now, muscle cells have three different names. Sometimes we get lazy and just call them a muscle. Technically, it's not a whole muscle, it's just one muscle cell. Or we could get really technical and call them myofibers. Okay, so a muscle cell is the same thing as a myofiber. And these cells, remember, are really, really long, and they have lots of protein fibers inside the muscle cell that we will label in just a minute. Now, each individual muscle fiber, each individual muscle cell is wrapped by endomysium. Okay, so breaking it down from small, you have all these muscle cells, and each individual muscle cell has a cell membrane that's called a sarcolemma. Each one of these muscle cells then is wrapped by endomysium. They're bundled together in what we call a fascicle, and each fascicle is wrapped by a connective tissue called perimysium. Then you have all the bundles and bundles and bundles wrapped together to make the whole muscle, and that whole muscle is wrapped by epimysium. Now, muscle requires lots of energy. To get that energy, the muscle has to have lots of sugar and lots of oxygen. When that muscle is busy, it's going to be making waste products and carbon dioxide. So that muscle is going to need a good blood supply. So you see here is the blood vessel that feeds this whole muscle. And certainly there are more than that, just one blood vessel. What allows this muscle to contract? Well, this muscle is connected to some type of nerve. We don't see that in this picture.